It's a pleasure to have you here. The details now. Former President John Mahama has disagreed with the judgment of the Supreme Court that he failed to prove his case that he deserved a rerun of the 2020 election between himself and the NPP's Nana Akufo-Addo. Reacting to the judgment hours after the verdict, he acknowledged that he will be bound by it and criticized the refusal of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, to testify. We'll hear from the former president shortly, but here's a recap of the ruling of the court.
The reaction of lawyers for President Akufo-Addo shortly after the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, ruled in their favor, dismissing the petition filed by John Mahama. The Apex Court, in its decision, read by Chief Justice Kwesi Yeboah, analyzed the evidence and concluded that two of the witnesses, the evidence were not relevant to the determination of the issues, and so also proceeded to state that the evidence provided by the petitioner failed to prove that none of the candidates who contested the 2020 polls won the election.
The right to vote is at the core of our democratic dispensation, a principle I've affirmed in this opinion with reference to the Takoradi and Mahama line of cases. End of quote. Conclusion. We conclude this judgment by emphasizing that the petitioner did not demonstrate in any way how the alleged errors and unilateral corrections made by the first respondent affected the validity of the declaration made by the chairperson of the first respondent on the 9th December 2020, as already stated in this judgment. The petitioner has not produced any evidence to rebut the presumption created by the publication of CI 135, for which his action must fail. We have therefore no reason to order a rerun as prayed by the petitioner as in relief F. We accordingly dismiss the petition as having no merit.
Of 7 justices of the Supreme Court. And I want to say, for the purposes of emphasis, that no matter the sartorial elegance or glamorously attired and adorned, a provocative misrepresentation of the correct legal position is the naked truth. And I repeat, the naked truth shall always prevail, as loudly pronounced by the highest court of the land. Need I say, the battle is still the Lord's. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. So that is the end by way of the election petition filed by the NDC's John Dramani Mahama. It remains to be seen whether a review will be filed or not. Reporting for JoyNews from the Supreme Court, my name is Joseph Akable.
Court correspondent with a wrap of what happened on Judgment Day. Now let's listen to John Mahama when he reacted to the judgment hours later.
But no one who followed the proceedings of the Supreme Court will be surprised with the judgments pronounced a few hours ago. Much as I'm aware that we are legally bound by the decision of the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court of Ghana, I disagree with the process of the trial and the ruling of the court. Ghanaians were hoping to hear her testify, and many are still baffled by the refusal of Mrs. Jean Mensah to be held to account by testifying in this case, unfortunately with the unanimous agreement of the justices of the Supreme Court. The vital part of the process to establish the truth and hold Mrs. Mensah accountable was blocked time and again by a protective cordon and firewall that I'm sure has confounded many Ghanaians. The refusal of this chairperson is in sharp contrast to the readiness with which Dr. Kwadwo Afarijan, then chairman of the Electoral Commission, willingly testified in the 2013 election petition filed by then candidate Nana Akufo-Addo of the MPP. Speaking as a Ghanaian with no legal training, I believe that the refusal of the Electoral Commission chairperson to testify in this election petition leaves a very bad precedent for the future.
So Mr. Mahama took the opportunity to comment on other electoral matters, and he mentioned that what he calls the deliberate exclusion of Seoul constituents from the parliamentary election constitutes the gravest abuse of power which influenced the outcome of the elections.
My brothers and sisters, we cannot forget the burning issue of the deliberate exclusion of the good people of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Likpe, and Lolobi, Sao, from the parliamentary elections of 2020. This constitutes perhaps the gravest injustice of the 2020 elections, perhaps even greater than the election petition. It can easily fit into the worst forms of electoral trickery ever witnessed in our nation's history. Despite the shenanigans employed by the conspirators in this issue, it is abundantly clear that the rights of the people of South to vote was intentionally violated as part of a move to ensure the predetermined election outcome of a particular parliamentary constituency. This represents unparalleled abuse of power by both the government and its handmaiden, the Electoral Commission, to influence the outcome of the parliamentary election in that constituency. It is even more staggering that no one has stepped forward to take responsibility for this unjustifiable action, nor indicated any clear remedy for the harm that has been caused the good people of Sao. We cannot, as a people, countenance this kind of gerrymandering and chicanery in our politics. We must with one accord demand immediate resolution of the impasse in the Sao area and take urgent steps to afford the people their right to vote and be represented in Ghana's parliament.
Well, the election petition probably was the last point of hope for NDC members who strongly believed they had a case. Many of them were quite disappointed about the outcome. During his speech after the judgment, former president had this to say to the rank and file of the party.
We may not have been successful, but your hard work and sacrifice will not go unheralded when the full story of the 2020 election petition is told. I'm very much aware that there are millions watching and listening to me who are also disappointed at the outcome of this case. For those millions like myself who held out hope that our democracy would be advanced by the process and outcome of this petition, you must be disappointed. But I encourage you to hold your heads up high and channel your disappointment into hard work that will ensure that come the next election, we'll achieve a truly transparent and fair election, which all of us as Ghanaians can be proud of. To all my compatriots and supporters, we may have lost the temporary battle of the 2020 election and the petition that has followed. But the larger struggle to create a society that lives up to our national motto of freedom and justice still rages on. It is a struggle that requires even more commitment than before, and it is one that we will not shirk from until our patriotic aim is achieved. To the millions of NDC supporters who have stood by me, my running mate, Professor Nana Jeno-Poku-Agyeman, our national chairman, our general secretary, our campaign chairman, functional executive committee members, national executive committee members, our parliamentary candidates, our sponsors who were very generous to us during the campaign, and all activists and supporters who gave us their all and all their efforts in the hope that we'll win and form the next government to save our nation and meet your aspirations. I say to you, do not despair at this outcome. And I repeat, do not despair. Never, ever lose hope. We achieved an impressive showing in the last election. And despite the intimidation the obscene abuse of incumbency advantage, and the massive use of state funds and resources, we can be proud that we gave it our best. Our achievement has become a stepping stone on which the NDC can build to secure victory in the next elections. The NDC will survive and grow from strength to strength. The sun may have set on our hopes for the just ended election today, but it will rise again tomorrow, and it will illuminate our paths to a better outcome the next time round.
So that's John Dramani Mahama encouraging party members to keep hope alive. Well, we've been joined by Communications Director of the NDC, Mr. Kakra Isamoah. Thank you so much for your time this morning, sir. Now, we've heard from the petitioner who was your flag bearer during the 2020 elections. Should we expect an official communication from the party?
We have not met since after the verdict in that sense. So we will meet and then we'll make a decision on whether we should issue a statement in addition to what the flag bearer for the 2020 elections said yesterday.
I remember in the election preceding the 2020, after the party lost, you put together a committee to try and figure out what led to that particular loss. You spent some 3 months post-2020 elections fighting this case in court, supporting your flag bearer to do so. So what's next for the party after this outcome?
What is next for the party is that we will remain a political force in this country and engage in all constitutional mandated platforms, parliament, civil society, with the people of Ghana to shape their views and opinions on how best to develop this country. And at the appropriate time, that is 2024, we hope to contest the elections, and then God willing, if we win, we carry out our opinions and our views on the way forward.
There have been reactions to that particular address by your 2020 flag bearer in the 2013 petition after the court gave its ruling. We had some form of congratulatory, reconciliatory message to the NDC from then candidate Akufo-Addo. Should we expect Mr. Mahama to place a call to President Akufo-Addo?
Please, I beg you, your voice is very faint. Say that again.
I am asking if we should expect Mr. Mahama to place a call to President Akufo-Addo. Our checks indicate that hasn't happened yet.
I'm not the correct person to ask this question of. I think that you should direct it properly to Mr. Mahama himself. But if you want my personal opinion on the matter, I can give it to you straight away.
All right, please do.
I would be extremely surprised if John Mahama did that.
Why?
And the reason is very simple. There are 2 or 3 reasons why. The first one is that President Akufo-Addo never, I repeat, never conceded to President Atanos. He never did it. He was not under any obligation to do so. The law did not mandate him to do so, but he did not do it. And that is a fact. That's number 1. Number 2, in 2013, there was a bench of 9 judges. And the sitting president won 5 votes to 4. In 2020, there was a bench of 7. The sitting president won 7-0. He doesn't need any concession speech from anybody to validate him. If he thinks he needs a concession speech from anybody, then he should ask his own conscience what the matter is.
But in the spirit of unity and moving on after this, you think...
does not believe in unity. He would not have sent troops to the voter already.
Can you say that again?
I said the president, Akufo-Addo, he does not believe in unity. He will not have sent troops to the voter region.
Well, in what sense are you saying this? Because
please, my language is very clear.
Yes, I know, but I'm just asking.
I said he does not believe in unity. He will not have sent troops to the voter region.
And I'm asking, what do you mean when you say he sent troops to the voter region?
Why did he send troops during the voting and the registration? Why did he do that? 2 or 3 days ago, somebody who went on leave as a Ghanaian came back as a Togolese. You are not asking that question. did he do that? He does not believe in the unity of Ghanaians. He does not. Nobody can persuade me that he does. He does not.
All right. So the ruling, let's go back to the ruling that was delivered yesterday. The ruling suggests that your polling agents and reps at the National Collation Center didn't do a good job. In fact, the judges referred to the testimonies of Mr. Pesa White and Rojo Metal Nunu as fanciful. Your reaction to that? Any lessons learned?
I would not have wished to comment on the ruling for a variety of reasons. One of which being that we disagree with it, but the face of the constitutional arrangements in this country, we accept it. So we leave it at that. Because if you want me to go into the details of the contortions and the gymnastics that the Supreme Court embarked on, we will not finish this interview.
I'm asking any lessons learned. At least we saw that in some instances.
There's no lesson learned from that particular ruling. Nothing.
Not even from the incidents of, and some your witnesses admitted.
to Auntie Bernice.
Yes, this is Bernice Abubedu answer.
Good. Auntie Bernice. We had a bench of 7 persons. There's a reason why under our constitution, the appeal courts and the Supreme Court are constituted by more than one person. There's a reason. So that even if somebody is dissenting, we'll learn and grow with it.
Okay.
In this particular case, practically all applications, it was 7-0 or 9-0.
Okay.
Did we need more than one judge to sit on this case?
Is that
need more than one judge to sit on this case?
Mr. Samba,
I don't want to comment on what happened. As a lawyer, I feel very ashamed about what happened. But let us move on. We want to move on. This country is far bigger than the things that happened yesterday.
Okay, Mr. Samba, if you permit me, let me just land on my question. So,
very well.
Okay. So this is what I was asking. Some of your witnesses admitted to some sheets being signed without any protests, and I'm saying that the judges cited that and suggested that your members or reps may not have done a good job. And I'm asking, as a party in that regard, what are you going to do to ensure that...
As I said, I do not, for the life of me, consider that judgment as worthy of my attention. Because, look, just let me take you back 8 or 7 years, 2013. After the ruling, the judges gave some indications on how things should be done in future. I'm sure you recall. Did they do anything like that?
No.
They are condemning us, and we should learn from the condemnation of me. I will never do it. I have an opinion, and I will express it.
Okay, let's come to the NDC, because you are having to deal with the fallout of this Supreme Court ruling.
That is true. That is true.
And it appears that there's a lot of disaffection amongst your supporters. I've seen people write on social media, for example, how disappointed they are with the case that was sent to the Supreme Court. And then there's also this recent issue about the approval of some nominees who were rejected by members on the appointments committee belonging to the minority. Your MPs in Parliament say they're receiving threats. It appears that the NDC party has quite a lot on its plate to deal with.
I do not think so. I mean, a party is just like a human being. There are ups and downs. On January 7th, you and I were in this country when the NDC, in the face of extremely overwhelming odds, managed to secure the speakership of Parliament. This time around, the NPP has secured their list of nominees to become ministers. We do not like it. A lot of our just don't like it. But we'll move on.
So what are you doing to... we've heard the president, he's tried to encourage the supporters, the base of the party. In practical terms, it may be early days yet, but what's the party thinking about in order to, whip up that hope that the former president sought to, revive?
As you yourself have said in your own question, it's early days yet. But we know that a lot of our people are extremely disappointed about what is happening. And that is why we have leadership. It is now time for the leadership of the party to step up and calm tensions and give them hope and tell them the same way President John Mahama said yesterday that the sun may have set on the 2020 elections, but another set of elections lie ahead of us, and it is our duty to prepare for those elections.
Is there division in the NDC?
Pardon?
Is there division in the NDC?
In what sense?
Over leadership and whether the party is being, put in the right direction. Are all executives in agreement on the way forward for the party and the current?
No, we haven't met. We had a short meeting yesterday after the what do you call it?
The ruling.
The ruling. I was not present, so in all honesty, I don't know what took place. But I am sure there will be a proper meeting to look at everything. But as you yourself have suggested, it's early days yet. We will certainly get back into the books and rule it. That's no problem at all.
I appreciate your time this morning. Kakre Samoa is Communications Director of the NDC. I tried to get some reactions from him on the Supreme Court ruling. He basically says it's not worthy of his attention and there are no lessons to learn from that particular ruling. We'll be following the party keenly, and if there are any updates, especially on the Supreme Court ruling, we'll let you know. As the petitioner did mention that lawyers were going to study that particular ruling and let us know their thoughts on it. Now, former Deputy Information Minister Felix Ofosu-Kwakye says the President's directive to Daniel Domelevo to proceed on retirement makes him Ghana's worst leader in the fight against corruption. Mr. Ofosu-Kwakye says President Akufo-Addo's directive to Mr. Domelevo, indeed, he alleges that Daniel Domelevo was hounded out because of his upcoming audit of coronavirus expenditure by the government.
I think that the time has come for you in the media, in the civil society organizations, and the Ghanaian public at large to ensure that President Akufo-Addo's overreach into state institutions with a view to undermining them is brought to a screeching halt. All governments have been saddled with public officials appointed by previous administrations. We in the NDC had to contend with 3 chief justices appointed by the MPP. Indeed, when we came to power in 2009, the chief justice at the time had been appointed by President Kufuor. We lived with her for 8 years. President Akufo-Addo has had the opportunity to appoint 2 chief justices. If we come to power, or rather when we come to power, and the chief justice that he appointed is still in office, we will have no option than to work with him, because that is what the Constitution says. Why is it that President Akufo-Addo is unable to tolerate and accommodate public officials selected by his predecessor? What is this fixation with having absolute and total dominance over state institutions? What is this mindset that leads him to believe that the MPP must dominate every aspect of our life, so that even independent organizations created by the Constitution, around whom walls of independence have been erected, are compromised, so that persons that they handpick can man them, so that they will be subjected or become subjugated to the whims and caprices of the MPP. It is a situation that we must not countenance as a people. So I am deeply disturbed by the removal of Mr. Domelevo. It is the final nail in the coffin in the fight against corruption. And President Akufo-Addo will go down as perhaps the worst leader we've had in the fight against corruption because of this maneuver against Mr. Domelevo. This government, led by President Akufo-Addo, is the worst in Ghana's history when it comes to the fight against corruption. This latest maneuver against Mr. Domelevo completely seals the deal and puts it beyond question that this is the worst government we've had in terms of the fight against corruption. What is clear is that contrary to President Akufo-Addo's promise in opposition that he was going to protect the public purse, he has come into office with a mindset to open up the public purse for systematic abuse and plunder. For that reason, he finds Mr. Domelevo, who is perhaps the most activist Auditor General we've had, a major stumbling block. So he needed to get rid of him in order to have direct access to the public purse. Don't forget also that Mr. Domelevo was returning at a time when he could have had opportunity to audit the books in respect of the expenditure regarding the fight against COVID-19. And I don't think that you need a soothsayer to tell you that because of the track record of this government, we were bound to find a lot of discrepancies, a lot of more practices and more feasance. They certainly are not in any mood to allow Mr. Dumelovo to find out the rot that has gone on. The other issue is that this government led by President Akufo-Addo has a zero-sum game approach to governance. It is either them or nobody at all. So to the extent that President Akufo-Addo was not the one who appointed Mr. Dumelovo, he needed to be removed.
You're watching News Desk with me, Benis Abubeidulan. So still to come, there is tension mounting at the Sekondi High Court as families of the 4 murdered Takoradi girls await judgment on the matter. My colleague Inathalia Kwanzaa is live in court for us. Would also bring you a recap of events that have led to this point. We've got details in a moment to stay. Thanks for your company. Now, the families of the 4 Takoradi girls who were kidnapped between July and December 2018 and later discovered to have been murdered want those responsible punished as the Sekondi High Court prepares to deliver its judgment. Now, this follows the end of submission by defense lawyers of Samuel Udutak-Wills and John Oji. Well, here's a recap of events that have led us to this point.
Between July and December 2018, 4 Takoradi girls went missing. Ruth Abeka, 19, Priscilla Blessing Bentum, 21, Ruth Love Kwesin, 18, and Priscilla Mantebia Crunchy, 15, were captured at Kansarodo, Buntumejebu, and in Crawford Junction, all in Sekondi Takoradi in the Western region. On January 4, 2019, after months of fruitless checks, relatives, friends, and some residents went on demonstration demanding justice.
We want our sister back. That's all. Because they can't tell us that the kidnapper was jailed in a police custody and he was able to escape. Why? Why? So we want answers. They have to explain to us why the kidnapper was able to escape from that cell.
But we are told he has been arrested.
That one we don't know.
So where are our girls? He has been arrested. Where are our girls? We can't find them. We want our girls. That's why we are whether he has been arrested or whatever. When they arrested him first.
We don't know whether our girls, they are alive or they are not alive. We have invited Regional Police Commander to our end. We have invited Minister for Gender, the Deputy Minister, all that they are telling us that we should have exercise patience because the girls are there. If the girls are there, we want to see them. We really want to see them.
Yes. Yes.
We are 100% convinced that if this incident happened to one of the ministers or happened to any dignitary in our country by now, I am convinced that we will see them or we will find the minister's daughters and the minister's children alive. So we, the citizens, we are also saying that the dignitary is supposed to serve us because we elected them to that level. Yes. We are dedicating this press conference to the president of Ghana, which is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Here is the very particular place, Diabene, that he used this platform to have his last campaign.
Yes.
So therefore, we are calling Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to come to our aid
have arrived, and as you can see, members of the community are hooting at the police who are driving past in a white pickup. The police simply driving through the community, and you can see that members of the community are hooting at them, screaming, shouting, jeering as the police pickup makes its way across the town.
Please, to assist me. Suppose they did what I reported to them, this trade trader will have not happened. Yes. Would never. Ruth Abeka, she was kidnapped 29th July 2018. On the following day that I reported the case to police, nothing was done until the boys were at school before they called us to deal with these very cases. Let's take for instance media. When you go to laboratory and they examine you, they give you a sheet, the analysis that they have done, they give it to you. And that very sheet will be presented to your doctor to explain. So you want the sheet. You want the sheet of the analysis.
This led the Western Regional Police Commander, DCOP Vincent Redeemer Deju, to hold the first official press conference, giving information about how the kidnappings occurred. The story caught national attention. Residents of Takoradi began a series of street protests to draw more attention to the saga and to put pressure on the police. The then CID boss, DCOP Mamiya Tiwa Adedankwa, visited the families on January 26 with words of hope and safety of their children. On 2nd April 2019, CID boss Mamiya Tiwa Adedankwa, in a press conference, assured families they knew where the girls were.
Together with the BNI, we've worked very well, and currently we know where the girls are. I'm unable to give the details because we don't want to compromise their safety. We are working hard together with other stakeholders so that these girls are brought back home safely. The assurance to the family is that they should keep on keeping on. The ladies, we know where they are and they are safe. So very soon, they will be brought back home and they will go back to their family.
However, that was never to happen. Parents accused her of deceiving them. The police finally discovered their bones in a septic tank in the house of the lead suspect, Sam Udatek Wales. DNA tests later revealed there were the remains of the girls, confirming they weren't alive.
A few minutes ago, officers of the Ghana Police Service informed 4 families in Takoradi in the Western region of Ghana that DNA tests conducted on some human remains discovered in the course of police investigations into the disappearance of 4 missing girls had turned positive as the remains of the girls. The Ghana Police Service has, with regret, therefore informed the families that the remains are those of Ruth Abeka, Priscilla Blessing Bintum, Ruth Love Kwesen, and Priscilla Kranche. Investigations now established that the girls were victims of a serial kidnapping and murdering syndicate that operated in the Takoradi area. While for various reasons we were unsuccessful in obtaining and acting on accurate, actionable intelligence in good time to enable us to rescue the girls, we believe that the arrest of the culprits has effectively thwarted the ability of this syndicate to have continued with further kidnappings and murders.
IGP James Opombuenu indicated that Samuel Wales and John Orji confirmed kidnapping the girls after years of court proceedings. The Secondary High Court is set to give its judgment.
Well, let's head to Secondary now. Ina Thalia Kwanza is a woman in court. Hello, Ina. Tell us the latest with regards to the judgment which we expect to be delivered today.
Yes, Bennett, so we are in court today, this morning. Families of 3 of the girls, I've seen them in court, with the exception of that of the Kwesens. That's the family of Ruth Love Quays, and they are not in court. I've seen various women group who supported this girls kidnapped, who were vowing that they should be found and they should be brought in court this morning. Now, the judge presiding over the case, Justice Richard Frimpong, is reading the facts of the case to the 7-member jury. Now, it is expected that today the final judgment will be given.
And remind us of the pleadings of the suspect. Did they plead guilty or not?
Well, then they pleaded guilty to all counts. That is conspiracy to commit kidnapping and to murder. They pleaded not guilty to all of these accounts. But the state attorney have said categorically that they have evidence which means that they are guilty to these offenses.
Ina, tell us the mood in Takoradi. We know that at the height of this, there was a lot of support from residents and even the nation at large. People came together. There were, campaigns on social media with the hashtag Bring Back Our Tardy Girls. What's the mood now in Takoradi as judgment is being delivered today?
Well, Benis, we are away from the main Takoradi. We are in Sekondi, precisely Pekuma, and this is far from where you see the people. Unlike when we started the proceedings, which the court was close to the Takoradi Market Circle, where you have people coming in and all that. I even doubt if majority of residents in Takoradi are aware of today's proceedings. So it's a bit calm, except the few who are here in court, who are here to, listen to the final judgments, who are mostly the families and then those people who played key role in this case.
Initially, some families said they didn't trust the police's declaration about the bones being that of the kidnapped girls. Is that the reason why one of the families is not present in court? Do we know?
Well, Venice, I have spoken to them earlier, and then for them, they say that that is not their family member, and so they see no need to be in court today. One of them, the Nigel patient, told me that, well, they leave everything to God. Their presence here will not change anything today, so they are not coming.
And when they say that is not their family member, is that to suggest that they still hold on to the view that Ruth Love is still alive?
Sure.
All right. And the families that are in court, have they shared their expectations with you?
Well, they are yet to speak with me, but when they came, you could see that from their faces and from their reactions that they feel a bit disappointed, because some of them initially said, can we talk before? But right there, the suspects were brought in, so we had to get into the courtroom. But I'm sure when we are done, we will take reactions from them, and then we would have more to say from their side.
All right, Ina, let me allow you go back to court so you don't miss out on any big news. Ina Thalia Kwanzaa, they're joining us from Sekondi, where the High Court 1 is making a judgment on that case involving the kidnapped Takoradi girls. You're watching News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedulanse, and as we do every Friday, Kobe Nkrumah is here with me, and we'll be talking about the latest news from the world of technology. That would also be interesting, because then you wonder what other things could be coming into our world from space. My mind is just...
Yeah, being a Fiero.
Thinking about so many things at the same time. Well, you've got a couple more before we wrap it up.
Remember some time ago, a Japanese billionaire said he was looking for the love of his life to go to the moon with. Well, he's now opened up the invitation to 8 more people.
So this is like a competition, eh?
Basically register, and then it will be raffle. And then, I'm going to register.
One of my dreams, but why? He said he's looking for a female.
No, that's different.
Okay, so now he's opening it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Operation Dear Moon. We're going to the moon. 8 artists, as he said.
One of my dreams in life.
To go to the moon?
Yeah.
So let's apply together. And, we'll go try see.
Then we'll come back. It'll be a wonderful experience.
Wonderful experience. I'm already envisioning it and dreaming about it. Oh, the moon within reach.
I actually think a time will come when you could just in centuries past, it was so hard to reach Europe. But now just sit in the comfort of an aircraft, and within 6 to 8 hours, depending on where you're going, you'll arrive. So maybe it may become a thing, you know?
Yeah, it will.
Where you could go to space and come back.
Take a taxi to space and back, you know? Let's just go see the people at the International Space Station and come back.
Okay.
And then finally, you know, Google does this thing where when your browsing habits determines the kind of adverts you see.
I was just thinking about this morning. Look, you won't believe this. Same thought came. So I'm on YouTube and I'm watching a video, and then I see a particular ad which is related to something I searched for a couple of weeks ago, and I'm beginning to ask myself, okay, am I safe here? Kind of a few people are spying and giving me, you know, tailored advertisements.
That's what it is, actually. But, you know, I mentioned in the first story about Apple's antitrust, Google is also being probed for being anti-competitive. I mean, there's no other competitor. Google has become a verb to search for something on the line. Everybody says Google it.
Can you Google it?
Yeah, you know, so it's sort of become ubiquitous, and other competitors are saying that, hey, it's not a level playing field. Google can give its users tailored ads that, you know, advertisers really want, because it guarantees you that you're going to reach the target audience. And we can't compete with that because people are not using our service as much as they use Google. So Google says, you know what? Since you people are saying that this is us cheating, we're going to drop personalized ad tracking. So we're not going to track you again. We're just going to show you ads. But we're not going to track you. We're not going to use cookie-based tracking, which is basically when you're browsing, searching, and then following.
You know what? I just don't like the ads. Did you just scrap the ads altogether?
What would you pay for the service?
They should find another way. I just don't like the ads.
That's the thing. They have to pay. They have
Prior
to pay
to the
bills.
ads.
There's always been ads. Even we run on ads.
Yes, I know. But I mean, sometimes it's just so irritating, one file. And I know sometimes depending on the traffic. I mean, like you watch, every 5 minutes there's an ad. We don't do that on TV, do we?
No, but if you become a YouTuber, you'd really enjoy putting ads everywhere because that's how you're going to get money.
Thank you very much, Kobe.
Thank you for having me.
With what's happening in the world of technology here on News Desk. We'll be back with business news updates shortly. Well, it's now time for business news updates, and the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, has expressed confidence that the COVID-19 vaccination campaign will result in positive economic rebound. The exercise, he believes, will stimulate business growth and lead to revenue mobilization. He was speaking to Joy Business after he took his jab at the authority's head office in Accra.
The Ghana Revenue Authority was forced to revise its revenue target for last year due to the outbreak of COVID-19, which affected many businesses in the country. According to the Commissioner General, Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, the smooth vaccination campaign ongoing will pose a positive signal to the recovery of the economy. He therefore used the opportunity to urge the business community to avail themselves for the exercise.
It will also go a long way to ensure that we'll be able to recover in terms of business, recover in terms of activity, recover in terms of being able to have more confidence in going out there and getting the job done. And eventually we'll see the economy recovering. So I think it's very, very important that, and I want to commend the government of Ghana for the work that has been done and for the project that is going on and for the opportunity given to so many Ghanaians to get involved and get vaccinated. Everything that we are doing is making sure that, like I said, we are all up and doing and being able to get involved in all our business activity and ensure that we don't have the economy going down. So definitely it's a step towards making sure that revenues will come. I mean, because at the end of the day, if we are working, if we are gathering and doing our activity, if we are being able to do our business, then we'll get revenue. And you know, these things are also expensive. And therefore, we need the money to be able to fund even what we are doing today.
On his part, Commissioner of Customs Kendall Kwejo-Damwa retired called on all stakeholders at the ports to collaborate with the authorities to get all persons vaccinated to avoid any outbreak.
You know that the ports as a community has several other stakeholders. It's not only the customs division. So our expectation is that those who also do businesses with us on a daily basis will also have the opportunity to have these vaccines as time moves on. We know that it is not easy to get everybody vaccinated because the numbers are limited. But the expectation is that as the government is showing so much interest, keen interest in trying to get as many vaccines as possible into our country sooner than later,
other stakeholders may also have the opportunity to be vaccinated.
About 300 staff of the GRA are expected to receive the vaccination each day until the end of the first phase.
And economist Professor Peter Korte has expressed optimism that the Supreme Court's verdict of the 2020 election petition will not significantly change the perception of investors. In a unanimous decision, the Apex Court on Thursday declared that President Akufo-Addo had validly won the 2020 elections. But in response to the impact this could have on foreign inflows, Professor Korte told Joy Business the investor community, regardless of election outcome, has always trusted Ghana's economic prospects.
Well, in every mature democracy, the integrity of the elections that affects the outcomes. And therefore, when that happens, people have confidence in the economy, people can invest, they can plan and invest and put resources to promote economic activity. So credibility of every election is quite key, very critical for every investor. I think this is not the first time we've had election petition, and also we've had democracy since for the past 2 decades or so. We have a matured democracy. If you look at the African continent, I think our democracy has come a long way, and therefore the investor community, even before this outcome, believes in Ghana's economy. Those who plan to invest will look at other things: growth prospects, demand for their goods, population, macro stability, and of course, economic political stability is also critical. But I think the business or international community or investment community knows that we will not jump on the streets with guns and fight ourselves as Ghanaians. That doesn't happen. We use the legal systems to address our grievances. So this outcome would not significantly change investor perception. I think they know who we are and what we are made of.
That'll be it for Business News here on News Desk and the entire show. Thank you so much for your company. My team and myself really appreciate it. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. We are also very interactive on Twitter. We are Joy News on TV. And once again, as you go out to enjoy the weekend, please remember to stay safe on our roads. Don't drink and drive. That's how you arrive alive. God willing, we are back next week with more exciting editions of News Desk. Until then, take care.